In other news.
The towers did not burn up. They turned into powder in midair.
You walk up to them and confront them. They can't stand that.
Welcome to another news. I'm Jeff Brady. Back we go into the fringe. We're going to talk about the concept of fake planes. The idea of fake planes, such as a hologram or post-production TV manipulation, emerged in the mainstream public consciousness after the attacks on September 11th, 2001. A year or so later, there was an increase in those observing chemtrails, or jet aircraft leaving persistent jet contrails that spread out into man-made clouds. A topic that this show, in other news, covered in depth for many years. Well, that artificial cloud cover, as many listeners know, occludes the sun, modifies weather, and consequently reduces the process of photosynthesis, among other problems down here at the surface. Well, as more people pointed their cameras to the sky, strange anomalies were caught on film, such as the aircraft morphing into odd shapes and unexplained reflections. Are these anomalies simply artifacts of distance and an atmosphere filled with particulates? When you stop and think about it, the fake plane topic can be the linchpin to the broader discussions of UFO disclosure, free energy, the 9/11 planes, and chemtrails. It's an area that few people speak about publicly. Past guest Allison Cruz discussed her experiences filming aircraft at night that reconfigured their light arrangements to mimic jets. Well, we talked today with Jennifer O'Brien, a mother of 4 children living in Toronto, Canada, who has witnessed and filmed the so-called fake planes during the day, twilight, and at night. She is one of several people who agreed to be interviewed. In this discussion, you'll hear beeps and tones. I'm leaving some of them in to give you an idea of this type of interference. Jen, welcome to Another News.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, what's going on, folks? Sheldon, what's going on? Everyone else, the show will show up. I got a new guest, hopefully a new friend, and definitely acquaintance. Somebody I've been following a little bit for a while. I really enjoy his a YouTube channel. Let's read this. Left this with me. Jeff Brady is an independent radio producer and journalist. His radio show is called In Other News, and it's been on the community radio airwaves in New York City since 2010. How did I miss that? Topics range from zero-point energy, geoengineering, the subtle energy fields such as argon energy, UFOs, the occult, alternative health treatments. Jeff has been filming UFOs in New York City since 2007, and a lot of this UFO footage can be found on YouTube under the handle Budgetmoon, which is a cool name, by the way. He's currently finishing a documentary chronicling the years of NYC sightings titled New York Sky Watch, a decade of UFO news. Jeff, thank you for joining me, bro.
Hey, thanks. I appreciate the invite.
Yeah, man. I'm really excited that I'm like, I didn't realize how much of a truther you are. I miss being a truther. They 2021 and January 6th, that my channel, along with hundreds of thousands of other small channels, got nuked, and we've been censored ever since.
So they let you back on.
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty vocal about stuff. What's going on? Sasquatch Confessions and JP Adventures. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, well, I've kind of playing the game, so. But they don't let me have I used to have thousands of subs, not anymore. It's taken forever just to break 500. Just happened recently, so.
Yeah, they certainly throttle people who are talking about sensitive topics, and it's just the way they've been. I haven't really nurtured my channel after I saw that they're interfering with it, and I just posted stuff. Some of the reasons I was posting UFO sightings, I was hoping that I wouldn't get messed with by agencies. I know it's thinking a lot of myself, but there was a lot of interference after posting the material regularly on YouTube. And
oh yeah, well, there's so much going on, and when you know as much as we do, you have to say something somewhere, and you got to be willing to fall on your sword. And the small channels, they took us out first, and I really believe that they were more worried about cuts, wounded by 1,000 cuts than the big boys. And so as the smaller guys, we had to fall on our swords, you know what I mean? So especially after the past 4 years, shoot. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You got some cool people in your chat room. That's awesome. Yeah. So I'm listening. Go ahead, Michael. I'm listening.
No, it's all about you, man. I usually talk a lot about myself, as everybody knows who listens to me. Yeah. Let's learn more about Jeff, man. The story behind the guy that for nearly 18 years, you've been filming stuff in the sky. What motivated you to do this? And also, it seems to me you're one of the maybe the pioneers, maybe when it comes to the chemtrail stuff, as far as posting stuff. Early guys, I should say, because I know I was talking about maybe 2014, 15, but I wasn't as vocal as I should have been. So,
yeah, that part of it was part of the filming was to see if these planes are spraying, because at the time, this is 2006, around that time, people didn't believe it, and how could this happen? How could this be allowed, etc. So let me go out and film and see if they're actually doing it. And you're told it's water vapor, and I saw them turn or whatever. The trail would stop and start, and I got it on film. But that was back in, oh my gosh, 2008, 2009, and I posted on YouTube. But even though I filmed it, repeatedly,
Yep.
there was some part of my brain that was saying, had to double check. Is this really happening? And some of the propaganda from other people would be, well, that's the plane going through certain atmospheric conditions, creating, persistent trail. So all of that is out the window. It's long gone. But early on, it was a thing that you kind of had to, mentally, go through. And in and around that time, but it was 2005, I remember, and I didn't bring the UFO thing in with the chem planes at first. You can go back to the early videos and see that the orbs. I was filming orbs like very early on, but yeah. So anyway, I was seeing the UFOs and the chem planes together, and then it's like, okay, what is going on here? People in Europe were filming it, and that was at a time when YouTube allowed a lot of that footage, or people were just filming that crazy stuff in the air. 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013. There's a guy out there in Italy, Tanker Enemy. Are you familiar with that guy?
Gosh, I've been so out. I probably have run across him.
He changed his YouTube name. He's from Italy, and he caught amazing stuff out there. But a lot of your viewers might remember, there's a time when you saw. I think we're looking at Virgin Airlines right there.
Is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah, Virgin
2015.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, so that was the beginning. One time I went out to this field and I was testing out a pair of binoculars, and I looked straight up and I saw two long triangular shaped craft hovering side by side, and these round spheres, brightly colored spheres, just hovering around it. Everything was stationary.
Yeah.
And it was straight above me. And this is on the edge of the, it's Hunters Point South, looking across the East River. You'll see Manhattan. The UN building is off to the right a little bit. It was just staying there. And I had the opportunity to lay down on the ground and just stare up at it. And that was the catalyst for me that, all right, I'm going to get a better camera. I'm going to just start coming out here as much as possible. And it began to be a numbers game where something is bound to show up if you keep going there several times a week. And they did. And they did.
And they did. That's for sure. It's funny for me. I was the guy always outdoors. And I don't remember the trails at all, and I didn't even pay attention to it. This is ironic because, I used to design nature trails,
Oh, nice.
wallflower, like meadows, bogs, that kind of stuff. That was one of my, then I was on the railroad as train conductor. So I was outdoors, and then they damaged me with the swine flu jibbity jab in 2009. But then, so that forced me to slow down and actually pay attention to what was going on the internet. And then it's when, like, about 2010, that's when I started hearing about this thing, these things in the lines in the sky, and it's holy crap. And I tried to even talk to my neighbor at the time, who was an air traffic controller. He would not admit it at all. And my buddy upstairs, right, who just retired from the Air Force National Guard and Reserves, 30-some years, won't admit it. Nobody will admit it. But I was like, how can you guys? I remember there was clear skies. Do you know what I mean? I can't see how everybody can not. And I know it's still such a weird topic, bro. It's like people are in so denial they put their head in the sand. They just don't want to believe it. I think it's such an in your face thing. I think and that one, well, there's numerous things, but like the 1-2 punch, that stuff, and then what happened the past 4 years, it's so overwhelming.
Oh my gosh, yeah, of course.
I think people just don't want to believe what's right in front of their face.
And yeah, I was agitated for a long time about that, and an apathy. Sociologically, you could say, this is people are so apathetic. I began to understand that these are personal boundaries and protections that people have to keep their sanity. And so, on one hand, I respect people for keeping the boundary and that material out, because it's not easy to ingest. You're confronted with a lot of breaking apart of certain psychological boundaries that include the propaganda that you've been steeped in for a big chunk of your life.
Your
And
whole
when
life. Your
whole life.
What's that one guy that just said, I can't remember his name. He said, he was talking to one of the Rockefellers. Remember him? And I can't think of his name now.
Aaron Russo?
It was him, but there's another guy as well. And they said he was talking to him, and the guy said, it was one of the Rockefeller says, we asked him, you lied to us. I think it was about the moon landing. And he says, we didn't just lie to you about that. We lied to you about everything. I'm misquoting, but that's what he was trying to get at. I don't know if you remember that. And it's like, shoot, the more and more I study this stuff, the more it's like, yep, that is the biggest truther bomb that has ever been spoken on the internet. They literally have lied to us about everything.
Yeah.
All you could do at this point instead of crying is laugh about it. Slap your head and go, God, how can we be so gullible? How can we be so easily swayed? You know what I mean?
Or be grateful that you've come to a place where you see a different path in front of you that you can begin to move into. That helps. I think we got a different video up there, Michael.
Oh shoot! Thanks for catching that.
It just, I don't know the settings on that, but I think I could point you to a video if you want to check out. I think if you go up just a little.
How many years?
Let me see.
You've been doing it for a long time, dude.
Yeah, it's been many years. Yeah, I just kept going. That was the thing. I kept going. The numbers of times to be out there, it was a probability issue. And then at the same time, I was learning patterns and beginning to, okay. There was another element where I didn't know what to expect, because these objects, these soft looking forms of these UFOs would take a different shape, a different form. What color will it be?
You talking about like the plasma anomalies?
Whatever these soft forms are. I mean, I have been calling them Etherians. Yeah, so there's that weird thing right there.
There's some great ones. Where was the one I wanted to see? The one that looks
keep going down. Okay, there it is.
The one looks like a flying squirrel.
Okay.
End of the video I made a compilation. And it's like, it looks, I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen a flying squirrel, but I've seen it before. You can see a video of it. Now, I don't know how high up in the sky, how many hundreds or thousands of feet, but it was way above those buildings.
Yeah.
And they had no way, unless a hawk or something snagged a flying squirrel and decided to drop it off in the middle of New York City.
These things take all sorts of shapes and size. There's June 2018. Do you see that one?
We'll find it. There's 2018.
That one right there. That one's an interesting one.
Budgetmoon one. This one.
Yeah. Yes. This is in. I moved to New Jersey for a few years, just across the river, and so I found a park to film at, close to Teterboro Airport, and I caught this thing coming down. It looks like it's a plane landing. That's not a plane, and luckily there is a cloud bank that it's coming down toward.
strange dissension. It's in almost a 45-degree angle there. If I got my name right, 45-degree angle. Or
Mm-hmm.
would a plane descend like that? I mean, maybe a helicopter, but not a plane.
Yeah, I'm not an expert in that, and boom, it goes
Boom,
through.
right the clouds.
Yeah. And off to the right, you'll see a black object. Somebody pointed that out. There's a black object to the right.
Right there, yeah.
Yes. And
That's
here
what,
this, yeah. And so this thing's descending. So what is that black thing, right? And this thing's glowing. How can these air traffic controllers not see this?
Without it flashing, that's another thing too.
That's got to come up on their radar. It's right there. It's right by their airport.
I got a feeling they're seeing it and they're told to keep their mouth shut. That's what I've got a feeling. What are this? Isn't it what those agreements, those pieces of paper they have to sign in order to keep their job?
Yeah, non-disclosure or whatever it is. Yeah. So a little closer look at this as I zoom in a little bit later. Oh yeah, flares up there, but it's not a plane. And I don't know. To me, that this is one of the best sightings that you just can't argue with.
But I've been hearing that in your area, the Hudson River and the valley there, that it's like a common thing. It's been going on for years. I mean, I was listening to these guys talk about their on Paratopia, and they're like, it's times people used to like line up along the river there and watch the stuff just for something to do on a weekend.
You remember that? Yes, I remember watching those videos. Oh man, back in the 90s, there were these videos. Oh yeah, and there you have a helicopter that had gone to that site, right where that plane was. Yeah, the Hudson Valley. You have Pine Bush. You have
legendary Pine Bush.
Yeah, Bear Mountain out there. I was at Bear Mountain. I saw a friend of mine, Skywatch friend, moved to Pine Bush, and he lives there. He lives there. He's loving it. Yeah.
Now, isn't there like some cities around there too, where they have like endless like catacombs and mines? Yes, you know anything about that and the legendary stuff? You know much about that? The wells, the holes.
I don't. I have a book about strange places
or some sorts of B.
Okay.
I'm not.
Brewster? Is it Brewster?
Yeah, Brewster, legendary.
Okay.
So that's, if you guys ever get a chance to learn about Brewster, that town's High-Strangeness. I'm from Ohio, man. I'm from Northwest Ohio, so I'm not. Last time I've been in New York City was 2010.
Yeah.
And Chelsea, and then spent some time in the Bronx in 2000. And I'm not a city boy, man. Well, I spent a lot of time in London and that kind of thing.
So, all I was going to say, Michael, is that New York City is surrounded by water, as you know. The East River is not a river; it's a tidal strait, and it changes direction. It goes north-south and then south-north. It's a mixture in Hell's Gate of brackish water. So you have some. I guess some ion release of ions and all kinds of of mixture into the air from the movement of water in that area. There's a lot of UFO activity in Long Island Sound because the East River connects up into Long Island Sound between Long Island, Connecticut. Okay, so this is
what I call the flying squirrel, but it cannot be a flying squirrel. But
Right,
it looks just like a flying squirrel. How high in the air is it, you estimate? How many thousands of feet
say
or hundreds of feet?
maybe 400 feet, 500 feet.
I mean, can you imagine? That's. I mean, flying squirrels fly from tree to tree. You know what I mean, or a tree to the ground. I mean, and then what's going on with the energetic nature to it? And this reminds me so much of my interactions with Sasquatch, Bigfoot, that does the same thing.
Yes, right. It's almost as if it's some kind of entity that's alive. I noticed that I was reading Tom Dongo's book. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Tom Dongos. It sounds
Yes.
better.
Yeah, I think I have it here somewhere.
What is it? Is he UFO or?
Yeah, he's out in Arizona. I think I have his book. Here it is. He writes about how they're almost like animals or entities, and I agree with him. They know that you're watching them, and they will begin to hide or respond in a way that they know that you're watching them,
or deceive you in the shapes of forms of convention that you're looking at balloons.
Yes,
aircraft,
right. Adaptive camouflage. Exactly.
I don't know why this one just decided it wanted to look like a flying squirrel, but what the heck? I mean,
well, yeah, this one has in the very center. It's hard to see, like the video version that's not in YouTube. I don't know if you can see it. There's a round black. That's it. You see it. There's a dark center in it. I don't know what that is. It's almost as if I don't know what it is. If that's
none of us do. We're just speculating. That's
right.
the thing about us. All this time doing this stuff, and we know we have lots of imagery of whether it's on the ground, in the air, etc. And yet, if we're honest about what we're dealing with, we don't know what the hell we're doing. I mean, we're like Charles Fort or John A. Keel or those guys.
Of course, yes.
Yeah. So I mean, they were warning us about this and telling us about this in this kind of ultra dimensional beings. I mean, these are guys that, like Keel. I mean, he had interactions with the Yeti, and he's saying the same thing. I mean, he's the one that made famous the Mothman thing, when he did his research there in West Virginia, right. Ohio, and Pennsylvania.
That's right. Yeah. He lived in New York City, and
that's right. He did too, didn't he?
Yeah. A friend of mine, Anthony Matt, was good friends with John Keel, and I got to meet him. I got to hang out with John Keel before he passed. Nice guy. Yeah. Well, I don't know what that is. What is that?
I think it's one of those thingamajigers. I can't remember now. I can't remember. It's
so John Keel in his book Operation Trojan Horse, he mentioned that the
brilliant book. Everyone has to read that book. Please read that book.
He mentioned
soft outside, jelly inside. Okay, yeah, okay. Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember what you're talking about now.
Soft outside with jelly. Oh,
it's been a long time since I've had one of those. They've been around forever,
man. Anyway, so yeah, John mentioned in his book the majority of sightings are soft objects, and I think he referred to them as aeroforms. But there's a writer from the 40s and 50s into the UFO lore named Meade Lane, who called them aeroforms.
Meade Lane, that sounds familiar too. Aeroforms. Okay. Mm-hmm.
And
I mean, look at this. Look, okay, so it's spread out, flapping like it's the 4 or 5 points like the star, and then it blows up like that. Now you would instinctively say, oh, that's a balloon. Except when you really start paying attention to this stuff, you realize, like, for instance, the tassels or the strings that are to it, those things should move dramatically compared to the balloon if it's blown in the wind, and it's staying straight. Now, you could have weight on that, but then you also consider the fact that if you have weight on that, then that balloon's going to have a hell of a lot hard. It's going to have a hell of a time going hundreds or thousands of feet in the air.
Correct. Correct. And it descended almost straight down, which balloons don't do that.
No, and it just blows up. And listen, do you think that maybe that what people are seeing and what they think are no, Mike, we appreciate your contribution. Mike's a good
Yeah.
guy. Mike's he's in the paranormal research, and he's working with Bigfooters out
Nice.
in the
Thank you,
woods.
Mike. Yeah.
And JT's another cool dude as well. He's the one that I started doing a show with. Somebody, the reason you and I are doing this show is because of JT. He bailed me out by getting me and helping me to pay for a new computer. But anyways, back to this.
Excellent.
I mean, this whole thing, these aeriform, these plasmic like beings, do you think they could also be like tricking us? And it's kind of like before it was angels, and then it became UFOs. In between then there were the blimps.
That's right.
Are they just presenting themselves based on what they know? That they must know what we're thinking and what we're doing down here. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, I believe there is a psychic connection as well. I've been out there filming at times, spending hours out there. And one time, I can't remember the film that I watched. I recently watched a movie, and I'm out there filming, and the film that I watched was
LA says sylphs.
Sylphs.
Not sure what they mean by that.
Right.
But while you're talking about that, just so you guys noticed that the energetic nature of these things, this is not reflection from the sun. The more you pay attention to this is emitting this energy.
Yeah, that's right. Right. Good catch, Michael. Yeah, good catch. There is right, and that's a strange shape. Oh man, there's so many bizarre artifacts that occur when you catch these things on video. But I'm just trying to explain that there is a psychic element to them as well. They know what you're looking. They know what you're thinking. They can read your mind. I know it sounds nuts, but
look at that, and then it just spreads out into like this star shape again. And it's got this shape like a flying squirrel, but it's clearly is not a flying squirrel.
And you can see the edges are opaque. You could see through them.
Yeah. It's amazing stuff what you filmed. I really do think so. I've been watching, paying attention. So, I started looking into like that one guy that has an plasma anomalous something or other.
Oh yeah. Yep.
And I stopped posting videos, and then I started paying. I watched like the balloon cult video. If you've seen that, the guy from California, Florida, he made a documentary called The Balloon Cult.
No, I haven't seen it. I got to see it.
So where he started filming this stuff, and then balloons started showing up.
Yeah.
And so and it became like this balloon cult thing, and but the thing is, there's just too much of this, and there's too much evidence to suggest that they aren't real. Sometimes they are balloons. In fact, this is one of the interesting things to observe is that something is bringing the balloons to him with his intent, right? Literal balloons. But before then, and in the middle, there would periodically be these plasmic type aeriforms, beings, these whatever these things are, that would show up as well. It's almost like they like playing to the trickster and messing with our heads a little bit.
Right. Yeah. We're also projecting a lot of stuff, a lot of our own propaganda out onto them. And it's good to just have like this sort of neutral balloon whisper.
Yeah. Very funny.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to have a neutral position and see what
there might be a person out there that goes by that name too.
Yeah, there's a bunch of us out there. I stopped filming to focus on a documentary because I could just keep going out there and film and keep getting great stuff. But I just thought, well, there's a story here. Let me try to assemble a documentary to tell the story. And I'm almost done with it. It took way too long, but
well, it's great that you're doing that, man. It needs to be done.
Yeah.
A lot of people aren't interested in this. It's so hard to get anybody interested. But if you do any little research, you realize this is such an important part of the equation of our reality.
Yes.
This
Yeah.
has nothing, people, I don't care about UFOs. I see UFOs. Now, you don't, this is not what this is about. This is about a greater part of a reality. And what's going on in the sky there, from my observation, and it's not even, I discovered this on my own. Then I found out that guys like John Keel and others are saying the same thing freaking 60, 70 years ago, that
Yeah.
there's a connection with these things in the sky and
Yeah.
what we see down here on the ground when it comes to cryptids, where there's Bigfoot,
Mhm.
ghosts, I mean, the paranormal, there's all connected. And they were telling us that. And for whatever reason, the next generation or two dropped the ball. And we're catching up again. Maybe it's because of digital cameras we can start catching this stuff. But
Yeah. Sasquatch Chronicles. I appreciate that. Yeah. The documentary is going to be looking at the location, which is right across the river from Manhattan, which is gone. It is it's all built up residential high rises, huge, massive residential compounds. So that place is long gone, but it used to be the Jack Frost sugar refinery in the early 1900s. And then before that, just like any other river and, area of a river and tributary near it, that had to be an Indian village for sure.
they talk about those stone structures and that kind of stuff. Do you know what I'm talking about around where you're at? Is there any kind of connection to it in the woods and all that? I don't know if they're really.
There were some filmmakers that explored this, and their documentary was titled "Flirting with Leprechauns," and I was lucky to have gone to see the premiere of it, but it's gone. Their film is gone. I can't even find it online. It vanished. That's the way these things go.
It's very Fortean. It's so Fortean, and it's very anti-structure, and it seems like when there's like, okay, I filmed a bunch of stuff last year, and I remember filming it in February, and trees around my neighborhood here, and talking to a couple of neighbors, asking what am I doing filming the trees. I said, they're dying. Sure enough, a year later, almost less. I mean, this is February. They started whacking away at the trees this month, just chopping and chopping away every single tree. And I filmed entities and orbs and stuff. And I'm just wondering, there's also some kind of harbinger type of thing, or some kind of like trying to warn whoever may be able to see that there's something can happen. Like you were talking about this location where it was one thing at one time, and then it was changed. A lot of places that ended up having sightings or encounters, it's like 2017, are now built up.
Oh,
no longer
right.
No longer fields or woods. They're actually
right.
I just wonder.
No, Michael, you touched on something really, really important. So there's so much interference when you begin to tune in and begin to see these objects and record them on video and present them to the public. You get on the radar of other things that don't want you to do that. And
the other things are not necessarily human beings.
Right. There is a writer named Carissa Conti who
hold that thought. It just for those who are watching this or may watch this, I want you to pay attention to this lollipop thing, balloon-like thing, and pay attention to this supposed string. It's as straight as an arrow. It should be blowing around if it was a balloon. It should be blowing along much more dramatically than the balloon itself. This is not a balloon. Go ahead.
Sure. A quick aside, that was filmed in the Bronx. A friend of mine, Ryan, was with me. We were in the Bronx Botanical Garden, and that showed up.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
You really observe it. You're like, how can this possibly be? When you really pay attention, I don't understand why people are not as enthralled as you and I are, and people like, I mean, you just look at it and you're like, no, that's not a balloon. I'm sorry. I don't know much, but I know that. I have enough common sense to know if that was a string on a balloon, it'd be flying all over the place. It is straight as an arrow.
Right. These are easy to dismiss for people who, for whatever reason, are don't want to look at this stuff. But Carissa Conti had called them interdimensional negative entities, and they yes, and her book is titled "Chasing Phantoms." She's been a guest in other news several times, and she goes into depth on gang stalking and the more esoteric nature associated with gang stalking. And she's got her own website, intoworlds.net, worlds.net. So if you want a good site to dig around.
And here's the other thing too, I've discovered too, they talk about magnetic fields. They talk a lot of this where a lot of this activity is, but it's the negative electromagnetic fields. That is also supposedly is association with a lot of these things showing up. The negative, not the positive, the negative side of these magnetic fields that surround us.
You're right, Michael.
And I'm not talking about like emotional or spiritually or bad. I'm talking it's like negative, like
right,
positive.
and inversion.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's referenced in Wilhelm Reich references that in describing orgone energy. There's positive orgone radiation and deadly orgone radiation. So you begin to get on their radar when you start to film. And so in the documentary, I look at some of the interference. I caught a lot of the interference on video, such as people spying on me through behind piles of dirt at this field, helicopters, just circling my building. Because after a while,
you start thinking you're paranoid. You're just like, no, this stuff's really, the thing is, sorry about that, Jeff, but just on the Sasquatch and Bigfoot research side, very similar things happen. Seriously.
Totally. I believe.
I mean, there's just, so, I mean, I've had people rummage through my garbage.
Oh, wow.
Starting in 2017, once I first, started investigating this stuff and then had my first encounter. I mean, literally, the ones that Blackwater, the Boston bee thing that we're not allowed to talk about that happened.
Boston Marathon.
Yeah, Boston Marathon bee thing event. They were wearing the khaki pants and the black, thing, and then going through my garden. I'm in Northwest Ohio. I'm just a dude researching Bigfoot. It had an encounter. Why? What? Sometimes I wonder. I know I didn't imagine it. I mean, I saw it. I saw it as plain as day. I saw the guys go through my garbage, throw it in the back of their pickup truck, and take off.
Wow.
I don't know.
I did a number of interviews with people who were gang stalked. They call them TIs, targeted individuals. That's on the website inothernewsradio.com. And that goes down a rabbit hole I didn't even know existed. But it is people who are looking for evidence and even for themselves. Was your intention, Michael, to bring whatever research you gathered to the public domain?
Yeah, and it's you're bringing up this whole thing. We call it in the Bigfoot community at times like the game is on, or once they know that once they know that the game is on. So it's this whole thing, and power of intent. I really do believe I didn't intend on doing it. My intention was to expose the Patterson film that this whole thing about Sasquatch was a government psyop, only to find out. And how it is being researchers like us, we're pretty intense about it, right? So within 6 months after interviewing people and researching, I'm having an encounter standing next to a Indian medicine man, and there's 2 Sasquatches in that ravine in the middle of a cemetery in the middle of my town where they shouldn't have been, and one's crawling up and got 15 feet in front of me and him. And then and in Medicine Man turned out to be a bizarre part of the story too. None of this stuff that I ever expect to happen. And so, and then this, because it's so Fortean in his nature, right? And it's so bizarre, you try to share the story with people. And so everyone's got in their camps and it's set in their ways. And there's no way that they can believe, there's no way they can believe your story. It's because your story is so absurd. It's so bizarre. You know what I mean? Like you were talking about earlier about gang stalking. It makes absolutely no sense. It makes you sound like you're paranoid. But then you're like, listen, we're not paranoid. This stuff is happening.
Yeah, it is. Unfortunately, it's brutal. They go after people who are developing 0-point energy devices, doing research, like you said. So it is very unfortunate that that's in our reality. But the more we talk about it, shine light on it, bring awareness to this agenda that's around us in our society, the less power they have. There was a site titled ethericwarriors.com, and that's how I learned about gang stalking. They made Organite in Oregon and Zappers. The guy was Don Croft and his wife Carol. Remember that? Yeah, remember Don?
Did they get taken down?
Say it again.
Did they get taken down? I think it got taken down.
Something very they were attacked. The site was attacked and destroyed. I'm sorry, the webmaster was found dead in his bathroom, and then a week later the site was destroyed, and then and that website was amazing. It had a great message board on it, and discussions were amazing in that. So nicely organized site.
Yeah, it was good. I remember and they were just starting to get their act together and start to show images and try to explain things. We were on the same page. It's 2017. We were interacting. I was at that time, I was kind of I was a hardcore Christian at the time. Not that anymore, but at the time I thought this stuff was like demons and monsters and all that. Now I realize it's a little more complicated than that, than what the priest and the church and the Bible says. But regardless of that, whether it was someone's opinion, the one thing is, like you're talking about these tragic events that happen, it's like this yin and yang thing. A positive thing would happen, then a negative thing would happen. Somebody that I became friends with through this a year ago, she was on my show, right? Doing part of my lives. And the guys, if you remember, anybody hears a shell, passed away last weekend. They found her dead, alone, and it looks like foul play.
What was the topic?
We were just talking about all sorts she was very much like us. She's a truther. She's very smart. I think she knew a lot of stuff. She knew all the stuff that like we knew, when it came to chemtrails, directed energy weapons and all that, but we were generally talking about Bigfoot and that kind of stuff, right? But she also knew other stuff, and it's like, and I'm not saying that tragedy doesn't happen outside of the community or this, but it just seems to be, if you can't keep yourself centered in all this, it can drive. I don't know how to say this, because I can't really, it's not fair to me to blame her. It's because I don't think it really was her fault. But I would have to say, the same token, if you can't deal with the truth of what's about to be unveiled in front of you, because once you know the truth, here's another brutal part. Maybe you tell me if you have the same experience, Jeff. Your social, your friends and family members, everybody is like, see you later. Nice knowing you. You're crazy. You're out of your mind. And I've lost, I almost lost my son over this for just asking questions, just to want to know the truth.
Yeah.
There's more than human involvement going on here.
Yeah. Michael, you're absolutely correct. I think it happens to most people who kind of break through programming and begin to do honest and spiritually honest research, and reject the propaganda, reject the social norm, and begin to do their own work. And they could be wrong, but they're following their own, intuition, which is great. You're going to have social meltdowns. You're going to lose friends and family members. People who secretly didn't respect you will challenge you and, no longer become friends or an association. Definitely, you'll go through that.
True.
Mm-hmm.
It's universal experience. And then once you get involved in this stuff, then you have to go through all this. I mean, it's almost like every person's, I've been bringing this up lately. It's like every person's journey's been specifically tailored, designed for you. It's your own unique experience. And if you try to, and when you start comparing it with other people, then everyone gets all, if your experience doesn't look like mine, you're lying, you're a fraud, you're faking it, you're a hoaxer, etc. And you start to realize that my experience is my own specific tailored experience. That something else was involved, offered it up to me. And I think they use this to confuse us and to divide us. And if we can't come together with this realization that each person's experience is uniquely different, and if it doesn't quite fit in with what you want it to be and the way you see it should be, right? Perfect. UFO community, you got to know this. And the same thing, because I've been paying attention to you guys, but when it comes to the Bigfoot community, we're so divided, fragmented, different camps. You got to be flesh and blood or you woo, this, that, and the other. Mm-hmm. And you know how it is at UFO. If you've been doing this for all, it's all freaking fragmented and, Mm-hmm. So what happens? It's of course, there's different motivations. There are hoaxers. There's people that just want to make a name for themselves. There's people that actually, then there's also really have had experiences, and we're trying to figure this stuff out. And we can't seem to accept the fact that it's uniquely tailored different for each person.
Yeah, the Bigfoot community is definitely notorious for having its factions and infighting and all of that. And it's such a fascinating area. I love to learn about it and learn about these federal parks, these national parks all over the country. It's really all over the world, but certainly in North America. And all the sightings that are happening. And I love learning about the psychic element of Bigfoot as well, because I came across a book titled Psychic Bigfoot in a secondhand store by Kawani Lapsaritis.
Yes.
You know that guy? Oh, you got it. There you
got the book.
If you, I know him. He's a really good interview if you get him on. I
imagine we will.
Oh, wonderful.
We just started doing this. Me and Sasquatch Confessions started to do one called Sasquatch Confessions and Friends. And so our first one was Wednesday. We already got 2 lined up for next week, another one for next week. It will snowball. There's lots of people and I'm hoping at least our approach is that we'll talk to people from all camps and try to find some common ground.
Excellent.
You know what I mean? I mean, I'm not like really fundamentalist or maybe, I mean, I've had really woo experiences, but I'm not a spiritual person or woo, if that makes sense. My background's in science background and environmental science and management. And like I told you earlier, I just used to design like nature trails and that kind of stuff, and bogs and wildflower meadows and blah, blah, blah. And worked with native fauna. Ecology.
It's really cool.
But saying that, I mean, I'm not like this tree hugger or new age dude. I'm not. I'm far from it. But the same token, I'm not one of those flesh and blood, have a weapon and walking around with a pistol and my shotgun and out to try to hunt down a Bigfoot and all that either, right?
Okay.
I'm just a guy in the middle, just got caught up in this stuff. That's all it is.
Gathering data. You're gathering data.
Researchers. Yep. I'm a truther. Absolutely. I'm a truther by heart that fell into this Bigfoot community. And it's really awkward because when you're one of us and you've been doing the research like us, it's kind of like, how do you fit in? You know what I mean? Because you know better. You just know you need to be at the fringe if you want to know the truth.
Tree hugger. Yeah. I'm reading that message. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. You're a scientist, essentially gathering data, and you're uncovering you're not denying what you're finding.
Well,
And
that's
that's
part of the scientific method, is to try to do your best not to have your bias get in the way. It's uncomfortable as it may be. And if when you see a Bigfoot go through a tree and the tree still stands, that's what you saw. Whether people like it or not.
If you click on that interference one with the helicopter, right there, that, oh man, what a time.
Should I slow it down or keep it normal speed?
I think normal speed is
So,
okay for
because
this.
I know some of these videos, they're the jerking around and everything so fast. Just for those guys in particular. I just like to slow down yours as well. I guess there's something. Is maybe something strange about us? We like looking at these videos because I think most people don't have the patience to do it. I'm just like, yeah.
True. Yep. There's no fanciness. It's just kind of raw footage, as much, just here's what I found. Here's what I've recorded in the sky.
Record the video, like I'll record your video. So then I usually don't post it. If I do, I'll give you the credit. But like I'll put my software and expand it, bring it up, zoom it so I can see it better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
See how close that guy was?
Hold on a second.
Why do they care so much? This is my back window.
So this is going on above your house right now.
You're right. This is a 3-story walk up. I'm in the middle floor apartment, filming out the back window.
How do they know that you even know? That's another question.
They could see you. They have their thermal imaging and everything. They could see you through the apartment.
And then there's supposedly the
look at that. They're right there.
Wow.
They like to disrupt the vibe too. They like to do that.
Or is it because they're paying attention to the object and you just happen to notice it while they're doing it? Same thing.
It could be that as well, but
it's just
that object.
Variables.
Yeah. So this is another one. So what had happened at that field is the police arrested me for trespassing. And
really, all you're doing is you're just filming up in the sky, and that's trespassing.
Yeah. There were trails and dog walkers and all kinds of people out there, but they singled me out and they went through my bag and all my information. And
anybody says America's not a police state is very much delusional.
I never went back there after that. So I started filming from my back window, and this was happening. So they were watching me.
And it's because they see you watching them.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's what is that? That's something, the skull technology. What is that? You know what I'm saying? Not satellite to skull. What do they call that? Something to skull technology where they pay attention.
Voice to skull?
Voice to skull. But there's something similar to that too, where apparently they have the technology, allegedly.
So here's another.
To read our mind.
They could do that right. Look at the direction of that camera. Camera's pointed right at me. And I'm in my apartment. And when you look at the building from the sky, all the windows are dark. You can't
That's not too often that people have to go through this, where they actually have a helicopter that's actually hovering close to your house and your window. It just doesn't happen that often. I know people think it sounds paranoid, but just think the last time you had a helicopter hovering over you. I mean, some of you guys like Sasquatch Confessions and Seeker and all those guys and his brother, they go out and at times they'll see helicopters because they're out there in the British Columbia, searching for signs of Sasquatch. But I mean, your home,
right?
Come on.
Yeah.
Why would you be hovering either? Now, mind you, it's just slowed down a little bit.
Yeah, I slowed it down. Here's another one. Now, this is also revealing that they're looking down at my apartment, so they could see me, and I'm assuming they could see me in my apartment. I could be wrong, and it could be just a coincidence, but I don't. At this point, it's not. This is an unmarked helicopter. Yeah,
Yeah, that is, isn't it? It's just like a private one.
slowly going over the
Is that a
building.
black one of those? That's not one of the black helicopters they talk
I
about.
don't think so, but it's blue. It's iridescent blue. And there, you could see he's looking at me, but there's no way he could see me in my.
Look how crazy his face looks. It's all distorted.
Yes, right. So that's what this video is mainly about, is just showing this kind of activity that.
So on your radio show, you've been interviewing people about similar things, right? Tell us more about your radios. Let's focus on that a little bit, and then maybe come back here.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, the show is called In Other News, and gotten into depth on. That's one of the stations that the show is on, but that's the website where you can. It's been hacked a couple times, so I lost my archives. But you can search using the year and stuff through the with the search engine there, so that can help. You can donate. So there's the gang stalking. So there's a whole bunch of shows there on gang stalking, and if you want to go deep into that,
yeah. And you've been doing it for a long time. We're talking about it. You can see the 2013. So.
Yeah, and like I said, I learned about it through Don Croft's site, and I thought, okay, this is important, because they were gifting Orgonite to different places, and people were getting gang stalked. There would be cars following them. There are all kinds of crazy stuff happening to them. But I've been playing a lot of past shows because I'm working on the documentary now. So, that's a good one right there. Jay Valentine, that show with Jay Valentine, he's trying to redo all the voter rolls in 3,200 counties in the United States to get rid of the duplicate and triplicate and just multiple bad addresses. Yeah. So he's
the voting. It's so scandalous, the whole damn place.
Yeah. So, I mean, there are heroes out there that you don't hear much about, like Jay, who's doing all this work right now. His main work is to expose insurance fraud. So he's got a great, quick database system that's super advanced, quicker than I forgot, SQL. It's faster than SQL, and that's what a lot of the voter rolls are using across the counties. And his system will you could access voter databases with your phone under his system. Anyway, that's it's worth listening to. Hopefully, it happens soon.
After what we just witnessed, I mean, actually, I gave up on the national. I gave up on voting altogether.
Sure.
20 years ago, after the first. Well, pretty much when Bush, actually 2000, after
Oh, right.
Gore handed over
the hanging Chad.
You didn't even fight it. It's like, yeah, sure. Like he was like planned. It was always planned all along that Bush Jr. was going to be the next czar.
They are watching. Yeah, definitely watching you. Thanks. Yeah, I know.
I think it's part of the gig. You know what I mean? I think it's like it sounds like we're being paranoid, but I don't think we're being paranoid. I think it's just as we become more observant of your surroundings. It's just like, hey, man, so. You start also what we call the spirit realm, the interdimensional realm, the
I mean,
paraphysical, whatever
yeah,
these they're all connected somehow, some way. They influence us. It's a lot more than people realize. We know people don't really think as independently as they like to believe they are doing.
point.
So, you
Yeah,
know,
good point. Yeah.
and it's just an observation of mine. It's just throw out religion, throw out all the other stuff, throw out the woo stuff, just to use your observational skills. They say to use the scientific method, and you cannot. I argue you can't. I mean, you might not want to talk about it. You might be embarrassed about talking about it. It's not a good place. Work's not a good place, or the group you're hanging out with might not be tolerant of your observations. But if you're honest, I mean, there's some high strangeness going around all around us. UFOs, paranormal, Bigfoot, all these things seem to be strongly connected, Jeff.
Yeah, and there's
Politics.
yeah, oh right.
Religion.
Kwani Lapsaritis pointed out how the Bigfoot were acting as security for the Greys who had this mining operation in this mountain. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. I could see, those guys working together,
Yeah. And do you know about the let's see if I can find it. Do you know about the painting in the Vatican about the Last Judgment? And in the dead center at the bottom of it, it has these entities that look just like Bigfoot guarding a cave.
Oh no. Oh, there you go. No, I don't. I've not seen that.
It's true. I'm not making it up.
Oh no, that's great. Yeah, there's so many different references of
Get this out of the way.
these cryptids in our past and in our heritage. The dog-faced people, you can go down that road as well. But one thing I was hoping we could talk about is the fake planes.
Let's do it, man.
Okay. So the clip that you played in the very beginning, the show, was Jennifer O'Brien, and
okay.
she had she's from Toronto, and she was filming fake planes. And
Is that
so
her? No,
oh no, it's back there. It's okay. We don't have to listen to it. But the idea is, okay, so she was filming material like that, these objects, aircraft that appear as domestic aircraft, but she could tell they're not. There's a guy out in Oregon named, his YouTube channel is Who Took My Mojo, and he was filming. Oh
God, can you get a hold of him?
Yeah, he's been on the show.
Oh my God, he's like one of the best field researchers out there. I just mirrored one of his videos, and I asked the question, "What happened to him?"
I don't know what happened.
He stopped posting stuff. He said some amazing light shows that he filmed, man.
Some of the best footage, right? He got
synchronicity, bro. Thank you for bringing it up, man.
Sure. He got that craft that had landed, and he was looking inside of it, and these like little gray thing. He said they were grays or whatever. They were moving at rapid speed, like blink of an eye.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, he got the best footage I've ever seen, and but he also got the fake planes. So these things mimic aircraft, regular domestic aircraft, planes. Alliston Cruz, you familiar with her? Seeing UFOs PA?
Yes, she hasn't been active that much either lately.
Right. She's working. She's got a huge business.
She got to end up getting a big following too.
Yeah, she was very thorough in her investigation, and she was catching the fake plane, right? So
fake plane,
right. So I bring this up because if you go to Budgetmoon again, if you go to my channel, the most recent upload, right there.
No plane.
That one. Yeah. And if your viewers look closely at this, so there's only 30 minutes, 30 seconds.
Slow it down so we can see it a little better.
Oh, yeah. This is an aircraft spraying over New York City. And it's not a plane. It's not a plane.
It's a ball of light.
So what is going on here? We have to really honestly look at what is happening with our skies. And these things, is there non-human involvement? I guess is my point. So who took my mojo? Jennifer, Allison, myself, and others are seeing that these are not really planes that are spraying material. Then what's going on, and why can't we talk about it? So to me, this is the most secret thing.
Well, at least a lot of other things. I got lost we'll forget about that image. We'll do it another time. But as far as then you start filming the stars, you start realizing they ain't the same either. We live in a giant light show and some kind of freaking matrix, some kind of simulation, and it's nothing that they've told us.
Right.
That's why they have to constantly give us artist renderings and CGI imagery, because they're really. I don't even know if they know. I think they know that it's not what they're telling us, but I don't think they necessarily know what we're dealing with ourselves. It seems to be they're profoundly ignorant. It seems like even the plantation managers here, the oligarchs, they seem to be the most abused and used by these things of anything. I don't think they even realize it's happening. The way, or if it, you hear about stuff like maybe they are like into spirit worshiping and all that kind of stuff, and it's easy explanation. But I really think they're too stupid. But they're just like we're all pretty ignorant. I shouldn't say that. We're all guilty of our own ignorance. You and I pierced the veil a little bit, but it took a lot of energy to get to that point.
Definitely. The Hudson Valley is pretty interesting.
Where is that?
I think it's right in the middle, next to Jupiter.
Right here, September.
Yeah, I think that's pretty decent.
They got the Hudson Valley, October 22.
That's kind of I went there. I went there. I went there by myself.
Which one do you want me to look at?
The one to the right of this
one.
The other way. Wait, that one's good too. Either way, pick.
You can play both of them. How's that?
Sorry. Yeah. Sorry.
So, look at that. It's what's going on there. He's bouncing back and forth. Or is that from your camera movement, or is that from?
It's probably camera movement, but it could be on a slow setting also.
Oh, I guess what it is. I got it on a super slow setting, which is probably not necessarily a bad thing, but we'll bring it back to normal speed.
Yeah, see what it does. So I was out there, and here I had a Bigfoot moment. So I was out in.
You had a Bigfoot moment. Okay, hear this, JT. Hear this, my fellow Bigfoot researchers. See.
Yeah. So look, I rode my motorcycle out to Bear Mountain, and one night, and to catch UFOs because my friend lived near. We had gone there before. He lived out there, and he couldn't make it, so I went there alone. And it's basically pitch black out there.
It's not moving very fast, is it?
No, it's just a slow descent.
It seems. Now, what do you think that is? You say UFO, I'm assuming, but what? It just disappeared behind the tree line.
It's hard to say. I mean, it's unidentified flying object at night. So I'm just filming at night. Right. How am I doing this? Right.
Everything's vague. You ever notice that, bro? Everything's vague. Alex is okay. Happy's okay. It's a joke. I can't help but laugh. You never get so serious about it, but I think you really have to take a good laugh at what's going on. It's so vague.
Yeah. Sasquatch is signing off. Sasquatch confession.
Okay, bro. We'll talk to you later, man. He's going to be doing a live soon himself.
Very nice. So Michael, I was out there and I heard this right behind like a mound, like a hill that was right by me. I heard, but it was huge. It was like a giant made that sound. You know,
How many times have I heard that from people?
you've heard this, right?
I've had my own
Oh,
experiences, but
okay.
I have not had the. I've had the samurai chatter and my name be called out, but and the tree knocking thing, which I think is actually a tree popping thing. I don't think he's knocking on a tree. I think he's popping on it. There's a Australia's he calls the orb whisperer, right?
Mhm.
And he brought up that they come out of the trees, and I'm not saying that all of them do, but at least I have observed that, and I
The
think
orbs do, or the
yeah, I think what
Allison saw
think of
that.
it this way: out of body experiences. When people have their out of body experiences, they talk about a lot of times it sounds like an explosion when their spirit disconnects from the body, type of thing.
Mhm.
And I mean, I could be completely off, but that's what it reminds me of. That there's something going on inside the trees. A lot of times when I have encounters or sightings, like I've had one in my backyard in 2017, I filmed a lot of stuff, and then the trees start dying afterwards.
Oh, that's a shame. I hate to hear that.
It's like they have to use a lot of energy out of the life force, if you will,
Wow.
almost like radiation poisoning sickness type of thing. You know what I mean? But it's happening to. Well, we hear about that in UFOs too, right? The plants, how the ground's burnt. There's at times, not always, but at times, higher elevation of radiation, right? We hear that. I mean, I don't know if it's true or not because we're
Right.
but
Right. You hear multiple accounts of that. Carla Turner, Dr. Turner had reported on that. Are you familiar with her work?
she passed away. I just read her book.
Correct. Oh, yeah. Which one? Masquerade of Angels?
I haven't taken, and I haven't read. I haven't read the Masquerade of Angels yet, but I've listened to it. I listened to that one, so it's very interesting. And so that once again, there more of a connection with UFOs and interdimensional beings or spirits or some whatever you want to call it. If you want to call them demons or whatever, I mean, they're just placeholders. I don't think any of us know what we're talking about. Except it's, it's not always such a wonderful thing when you have an experience with an alien, alleged alien, right?
Yeah. So my sense is I don't get a negative feeling from some of these entities or whatever they are that I'm putting on video and seeing. I'm getting a sense, there were times when a lot of us, because there were some other people filming in New York City, and we would talk about it, and we would notice that we would feel a certain way. We would know that they were there, and
nauseous, fatigued, out a little airheaded.
Yeah, it was a little bit like that. Yeah, just kind of a slight sort of vibration in your skull, a very fine vibration. And so that's how beautiful. Look how beautiful it is. That's right near Bear Mountain. So I bet there's so much going on underground there.
It's shocking, actually. You get this massive city there and all that development, and then you got some of the beautiful parts of the country are actually in the state of New York. It's just shocking. And to me, when I first went to New York, I was like, wow, you can look past all the giant buildings. There's some pretty stuff. The cliffs. What's going on with the cliffs? There's a lot of activity going on there, right? The cliffs and all that on the other side.
Palisades. Yeah. Palisades. Yeah. I lived right over there. I did some stealth camping on the Palisade cliffs and got the crap scared out of me by something screaming like at night. It wasn't human. It was not a human scream.
The woman sound like the woman screaming.
Yes. Yes.
A lot of people associate that with Bigfoot. Here's one of the problems I'm having with my research too with Bigfoot is like tree structures associated with Bigfoot, the screaming, the chatter, but no one's ever seen actually Bigfoot do it. No one's ever seen Bigfoot actually build the tree structures. No one's ever seen Bigfoot do the screaming. Now, I'm not trying to I'm not saying it's not Bigfoot.
That's important, though,
but
to
but
know, to discern.
right. But when I'm filming multiple different looking entities in the trees. And once you can distinguish between pareidolia and things that are popping out of trees that clearly are not pareidolia, it takes some time. And you need to get a decent camera. I started using my P900 to start filming around the trees, and instead of using the phone. And although phones, they're certainly some more superior than they were maybe 10 years ago or 7 years ago.
Mhm.
Still P900, just for some reason, magnification, whatever's going with that lens, I get crisper images of these things.
Yeah.
And once you see what I'm filming, it's hard to say they're pareidolia. It really is. So
Right. Yeah. Those Nikons, yeah. Really, those are great cameras. They take great photographs.
I mean, there's better ones out there, but for the money, a refurbished P900, it's the best way to go, right?
Yeah.
Low budget.
They have the P1000, but
That's
that's
right.
big. That's a very big camera.
It's too bulky a
So
little bit, huh?
here, yeah, it's very bulky. It's on slow speed, but this is
I wanted to because last time we get talking, and then the next thing you know, we're looking at somebody else's video.
yeah.
So far, I think we'll get away with it because I don't have it audio. So
yeah.
the audio is what nails you, the music and all that.
This is a fake plane. This is a UFO mimicking a plane. So you have the
Look at
blinking, the blinking light.
Yeah, look at that. It's the one. I filmed something very similar to this too. I just take stills.
Mhm.
The P900 is better for stills,
For sure.
and I'm filming stuff too. But I feel like there'd be like two long black lines and then a white or a red light that's running in between them, bouncing back and forth, and it's not a light from the plane. But I don't think it's a satellite either. It can't be a satellite. I don't know what the hell it is. We'll call it UFO, but
So you see that hill below? So that goes down into a valley, and that was the valley I was in like a month ago filming by myself, and I heard the Sasquatch sigh. So you have
and this
the
is
UFOs,
this is Bear Mountain.
Bear Mountain. So you have
And
UFOs and Sasquatch here.
It's legendary. I didn't even realize that. And so, how far away is it from New York City?
Oh, maybe like 45 minutes, an hour drive. If
So
that.
it's not that far away. So we're talking there's also suburbs and everything, towns in between, right?
Correct. Yeah, you're getting past Yonkers and Westchester.
So the Bear Mountain seems to be legendary from what I've heard from other old-time researchers who start connecting UFOs, paranormal, and Bigfoot in that area. Did you know that before you went in there?
No.
Okay.
No.
Right.
So my theory is that I think these are the grays and the mantids. Now, again, this is right by where Whitley Strieber's cabin is located. Same area. So it's a hot spot.
There's no reason to deny that Whitney Strieber went through. I mean, Communion is a classic book, and it's one of those books you need to read as well. So if you're not even interested in UFOs or aliens, you should read it anyways, because it's going to change your insight about what's going on. If you're a religious person, you'll probably appreciate it for it, because it's this you maybe call it spiritual. But if you're a UFO or and then alien abduction, all that kind of stuff, is like the behavior sounds so similar. How do these things are supposed to be flesh and blood? How do they go through walls? Bigfoot goes through walls.
There you go. Yeah. So they know how to phase in and out of reality. They know how to, they know how to do that, I guess. I've not experienced that, but yeah. So we just knowing that they are there, and it's true that they're Look at this thing. I remember this day.
I bet you do. Tell us about that day and that moment. Tell us about it.
And here's another one. I went up there with the Skywatch friend who goes by Koosmyk on YouTube, KOOSMYK. He lives up there in Pine Bush now. He's lucky, and he bought a house up there. But we drove up to this dark trail, and we went there at night, and just flashlights went up to this overlook, and we could see across the Hudson River, and we're filming with our cameras pointed west, and so we could see the top of the ridge of Bear Mountain, and we're seeing all this activity right above the ridge, and there's no noise. You can't hear. It's all silent. So this is, are there underground bases in this area?
Rumor is there's supposed to be tunnels.
And,
at least tunnels.
West Point
Used
is
to be
right there.
old mines, right? Mines, tunnels, right?
Yeah. Oh, right. Okay. That's the other factor is Ellen Crystal, who wrote Silent Invasion. Her Pine Bush is nearby. Well, it's not nearby. It's a drive. It's across the river, of course, and a little inland toward western area if you look on the map. And she has documented in her deep research. She went all out. She was obsessed, which is fine. But
That's
she
what
was
happens to all of us. Why wouldn't you?
What's happened? Yeah, she was hearing what sounded like drilling sounds in these fields out there in Pine Bush, and
music. I wish JT was here. Him and his brother heard music coming out of a tree when they were field researching in British Columbia, in the mountains.
Oh wow!
It sounded like flute or Indian music, but there's no one around.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. Anyway, so here's one of those UFOs.
What was that fast thing that went by it?
This is just moving across the sky. Those are stars in the background.
Is that a star? Let's go back here. It's going right there.
Oh, these are stills.
First, I'm going to stop here. The red light, and there's a small red light right there, and there's a little dark thing going on. You notice that?
Yeah. Oh, I didn't see it before.
It's almost like it's a V shape.
Oh, wow. I'm just now. Wow. Good catch.
Hey, that's what we do. We stare at these videos all day.
Holy cow.
Right there.
I didn't even see
that right there. Now, you tell me that's a star?
I thought it was. But that.
Right there.
Oh my gosh.
Look how that's moving so fast.
Yeah.
I have a hard time believing that's a star. You might be right. I don't know anything. And that day you were there. But look how fast that's going. I mean, there's the trees are stationed there. And that thing's...
Wow, that could have been one of those V things. Those are notorious out there at the Hudson Valley.
Oh my God, look at that. We're not talking shootings. You use a lot of shooting stars that night?
Not that I recall.
Dude, look what we're looking at here. And I know it's the part of the problem is the shakiness. I got to slow this down. That's part of the problem too. Go so fast. If you don't mind doing this, I find this fascinating because you're filming a lot more than just what appears. I wish I could get my Bigfooters and friends and all that to pay attention to this because there ain't no way you're going to understand what Bigfoot is until you pay attention to this. They're connected, man. I mean, I wish it was just my opinion, but there's too much evidence. But watch that. So that's pretty much stationary. That thing's shooting north. Look at that. I know it's the shakiness. We'll give it to the, it's hard to, without a tripod. There's another one right there.
Yeah. I'm actually
look
I'm using a tripod, and there's a giant lens, and the way I'm able to
either you're in the middle of a meteor shower or there's something else going on, man. And you didn't see. There goes another one.
there's a camera just for your viewers so they know there's
See
a
that?
camera.
Whoa. Wait, that was your camera. I'm going to see that. It
Yeah.
was you. I was just say, no way. So it's June.
There's a camera you can get that has a high ISO setting so you can record at night.
Okay. Have you seen the videos of the orbs that people film in their backyards and they're moving with the tails and floating all over the place like that?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not saying it's the same thing, but it does remind me of that. And it could be just because I would certainly, the shaky of the camera, but good gravy. I mean, it's an awful lot of that ain't planes. This is trees. This is trees in the background, right?
I think so. This
Or maybe
might have
it's
been
not.
an object
Maybe
that flew right above us.
it's got to be
And
this meteor shower. Then you're in the middle of a meteor shower.
no, I'm following an object. So I think I was tracking it with a night vision scope, and then I put the regular camera on it. So that's the thing. So the high ISO, I'm trying to see if I can see any structure or anything in it, because with night vision, it's just a blob. It's just a glowing blob.
Oh, I think those streaks running by.
I think those are stars, Michael. I really think they are.
Okay, they could be. I mean, maybe it looks like a meteor shower. Then okay, you know better than me. You're the one filming it, so whatever it is, it's pretty cool looking.
I know when you slow it down, it looks like.
Thanks for clarifying that. Sorry, people, if I misled you. I didn't mean to.
Sorry.
Are you sure? I mean, look at how that's.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because
they're going in different directions. Well, I knew if that's the object and that's the one that's flying off, I guess it could be okay. Fascinating. I love doing this stuff. I love breaking down videos, man.
Yeah, you would love it out there. So, I went to Vancouver Island, and they're out there too, and that was an epiphany to see all that activity, similar to Bear Mountain.
You were talking about West Vancouver?
Yeah, Vancouver Island, Canada.
Listen to Sasquatch Confessions. Those guys are all from that area.
So you got the same activity out there, Michael.
They do. I live in Ohio.
I mean, you have the same UFO activity in Vancouver Island as you do here in Bear Mountain. And that is, I have that should be on the channel too. If you scroll down just a little bit more.
We have I have best UFO. I had the most bizarre UFO sighting in my kitchen window on February of last year. I remember it was the 11th.
There it is, Canada. See Canada right there.
Just give me a little slow with the eyes.
October 2019, Canada.
Oh, come! I can't see the Canada part. I'm so blind.
I should put it in all caps. Oh, it's right below where all the buildings are. It's diagonal from the moon down.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
You don't mind? I'll slow it down a little bit so I don't get caught with playing somebody else's video.
It's fine.
Just 75%. So yeah. So February 11th. I swear, I had a huge one of those. You know that when they had that supposed Chinese balloons, right? Well, I had one of those things. I live right on the border of Michigan, right? Mm-hmm. Literally on the border of Michigan.
Okay.
And there's one that went over my kitchen, and it was one of these bright, one of those globus orange ones they talk about, and it was spilling out as it going across towards me from west to east. It looked like it was spilling out like aluminum, what they call, or slag from aluminum, or
oh, you saw that, huh?
It lit up the whole, all the tops of our houses and the trees. And I'm watching this can't be happening. At first, I thought it might have been a shooting star or something, or then a meteor. And it's like, this is taking way too long, and it lightened up the. And I was I was in the kitchen. I tried I got the camera and I ran out my back, but at that time, all I could see was a little bit of the streak, and then the orange globe was then on the east of my house, and I tried to take a couple pictures of it, and I couldn't take a picture of it. Yet I could see it. It's kind of like the moon thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I try to take a picture with a moon with say a cell phone, and all you get is a little dot, but if your eyes, you see it's like a big ball. You know what I mean?
Of course, yeah.
And the same thing happened to me with my camera, and I was like, damn.
Mm. Yeah.
But I saw it as plain as day, and it was just pulsating, just slowly going just from west to east. And they're like, holy crap, this stuff, these people aren't kidding when they talk about these orange globes.
No, it's very real. This is night vision, same area, and it's picking up all this activity. This is looking south toward Washington State across the Juan de Fuca body of water, and
Juan de Fuca body of water. Is that like a lake, river?
Oh, it's between Vancouver Island and Washington State.
Oh, it's just like a strait or something like that.
And this is
JG
crazy.
says they see him all the time. We're out there at night.
Yep. So,
look at that one. Look at that one.
mm-hmm.
Look, it moved. Whoa.
So I increased the speed on this just because they're really slow sometimes.
But look at how its movement went up. Then
yeah,
nice capture, dude. That's nice. That's nice.
Yeah. Here's the fake plane. Here is the fake plane. I've got a very thin tripod and a very heavy lens. So, and I zoomed in. So that's what you get, this wobbly kind of thing. Anybody see, but there you have a very interesting blinking element, very similar to the Bear Mountain aircraft.
Oh, there it goes. So it kind of goes in and out. It's almost, is it almost going in a circle?
It's yeah,
hard
kind
to tell.
of.
There goes Mitch because it's shaking. But there you go. He's got the blinking lights though, and then one of the
yeah, I'm zoomed in. I'm zoomed in. So I'm not only zoomed in, but I'm using a camera that shoots at night with high ISO. Look at those lights.
Look at that. Look at the movement of it too.
And this is right, now remember who took my mojo? He's in Oregon. I think he's toward the coast.
Would he do an interview with me?
I'm sure. I don't see why not.
I can't get a hold of him.
Do you have his email?
No.
I'll forward it to you.
Please. Or just maybe you can email and say there's a guy that's interested in you, really appreciates your stuff, and it's like, where did the guy go? We need to hear you. I mean, I really need to talk to him.
Yeah,
he did some great work. You know what I mean? He really did. He captured some amazing images.
It's some of the best stuff. Yeah. Now there was a bunch of UFO people like myself, but not me, had gathered a collection of funds to send him a high quality night vision camera. So that's what he was using.
Oh, you guys helped him out. That's nice.
I didn't, but some other people did. And
I know it's hard to maintain this stuff because life gets in the way. It's just like,
it sure does. Yeah.
And plus, I don't think it's healthy for us to be focusing on this 24/7 days for our own sanity.
Right.
But I think it's important to know about it. What kind of camera are you using right now? What's the name of it?
I'm using a Sony A7S, and S is, I think, means sensitive. So that means your ISO can open. It's a full frame camera. I had to learn all about this stuff. I had a friend named Anthony who helped me a lot.
Maybe you could teach us.
Yeah, sure. Look at this. I just want to, so here we have, that looks like a plane, but that's that same object. That's that same object that was doing all those weird things. So now this is going over residential areas really low.
It's always two. Listen, I got images I can share with you next time of it looks like two eyes floating in the sky above the trees. Like it's always two, like two orbs, but they look just like they're spread out just like that. and I'm deliberately filming no more than 100 to 150 feet max into the sky, and I'm not zooming in on anything. I'm just taking images, and you can see it stills around me, orbs, using the flash and all that kind of stuff. And I'm getting some amazing images, and it ties in with what you're doing there too. Is once again, it's these two lights.
Okay, so I'm using
But you got three. It's got multiple lights, the two dominant ones, and then
right, and it's flashing. So this is the night vision. I'm using a Luna night vision scope.
look at that.
And
Luna, nice. Is this this not UV, or is this
night vision? I think it pulls in any available light, like the moon, star, anything to help illuminate.
look at
the
that
field.
now? Those by the way, that the video of you filming that blood red moon in
New York City, yeah,
that's priceless. That's such a nice video.
yeah. You can.
I found that, I'm like, how did I miss that? I said, we got to put that in that video, man. That's like,
That was. I like the
at that.
intro. You did a great job on that. Yeah. That was. I was on the New Jersey side of Manhattan, or across the Hudson, looking toward Manhattan, and just timed it where I would get the moon rising, and then
Now,
you can angle it so
you know,
it's like
what's
behind
up with
buildings.
these things that look like balloons, but they're like letters and they're numbers? I mean, they're clearly like one's like a plus sign, one's like a Y.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, I've got a friend of mine who filmed an orb that made a Y sign. By the way, it wasn't a balloon, and it was an orb, literally, that was only about 120 feet away from him, and it had the shape of Y in the center of it.
Oh,
So what is like, or the dollar bill shape thing? I mean,
Yeah.
what is going on there? I mean, you could say that. I mean, okay, some of them could be balloons. We'll give the critics that.
yeah,
But not all of them. All of them
Right.
can't be.
right.
Which one do you want to look at?
Let me see. How about
It's fascinating, that dollar bill one.
the dollar bill?
It's like, I mean, I'm sure there could be a helium balloon, you know, that's the shape of a dollar bill, or an E or a Y. But once you start seeing these things and you see they can morph into different shapes, why can't they?
Oh yeah. How about August 2013?
Oh shoot, August 2013.
Yeah. Or
August, March, June.
I think it's off to the right.
This one?
Yeah.
That's an interesting one too, isn't it? Bizarre. Just absolutely bizarre. What is that? I mean, it's almost got like this anchor-like thing going on.
Yeah, it sure does.
Then it spreads out these spikes. Have you seen the one UFO where it starts to grow like these arms or tentacles that go out? I think it's from Brazil.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've seen those. I've caught, like, I had made private a few of the videos that I include now in the documentary, just so.
So this is as far as a balloon goes in design, I just don't understand which balloon it would be. This is something that's reminds me of one of those plasmic airform, for whatever the hell it is. You know, I'm sorry for my language.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
I've always felt awkward saying to like giving it a placeholder, because I'm just like, I throw up my arms and say I don't know what it is until I can touch it, feel it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
All it is like we're just. And how come we can't see this stuff with our naked eye like this? Only through a camera.
I saw it at first through the naked eye, but doesn't it look like two eyes right there?
Yes, it does. It sure does. And then, but you know what I'm saying? When you saw it, did you see the shape like that until you zoomed in? It was just a red light. It was just like a light.
No, right. No, it was some odd object that I knew right away.
You
was one of,
did. Well, that's
I
really
knew it was one of them. I knew it was one of them because of
sweet.
the way it moves through the air and the speed. And if you notice, it's rotating. So
It's a brilliant piece of footage. You just it changes and morphs, and you're like, what?
there's so many of these things out there. So that's the that
I mean,
really pulls you in because they change their shape. It's not like the same thing again and again. It's like what new shape or color could they do next? They
and
really
pulsating light. It says no, it's not reflection of the sun. It's generating its own light.
So if you saw the same thing again and again and again, it's like, oh, here it is again. But they definitely come up with very unique shapes and archetypes, I think.
Look at that. You see there? That's what I'm talking about there. And it's just so you got this part of the intro too. I love this image, or something similar to one of the images. But then you got the spikes coming out.
Yeah.
What happened to the little hook or anchor looking thing at the bottom?
It's in the front. It's illuminated. That's the red part.
That's what that is? Okay.
Bizarre.
What is it?
I don't know.
Are we like? Did you just identify or film a new species of? All right. You know, that's what the ecology of these things. Whether you want to call it the spirit realm, the interdimensional realm, the plasmic realm. I mean, they say this universe is made up of 99 point whatever percent plasma. That means we just now get to even understand it.
Right.
I mean, are you just film? Maybe these things need to be started given a name. There's right there. See that?
Yeah.
What's that thing? I mean, you can see the spike, right? But then what's that dark thing there? Sometimes you don't see it.
There
you go.
Wow.
Look at that. So spike there, then it's got this anchor thing. I mean, and it's moving, it's floating, morphing. That's so cool.
Over the heads of millions of people in New York City. That's the thing. All these are over New York City. Well, most of them are.
What would you call it? What name would you give it?
Oh, Ethereans. And that's
I'm talking. Ethereans is the general term, right? That's like say mammals or animals. What would you give that particular Etherean? What kind of name would you give it?
Good question. Hey, you're the scientist, right? You're the ecologist.
It's got the crown thing going on, and then it's got the Florida. What is that thing called? Florida release.
Fleur-de-lis.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the curl thing here.
Yeah.
It looks like a lantern. It looks like a lamp. It looks like somebody decided to right there. If you look at it, if that was a lamp on your desk, some antique, old-fashioned lamp. But what? I mean, I don't know how you define these things. There are some type of acronym. I'm trying to think of. Like they got these things now called jellyfish. That people are starting, and there's some really amazing ones that look like jellyfish, not like the other stuff that people are calling jellyfish. They actually look like jellyfish. But then there's different types. There's the things that kind of look amoeba like jelly, right? And there are things that actually look like something to be a jellyfish in an ocean. You know what I'm talking about? I'm sure
you're talking about. Right. You're talking about the regular jellyfish, but the ones that have the same form in the sky?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got a couple of videos of that guys that have filmed it out in California, out around LA in that area.
So I think some of these, so we're getting into like the biology of it a little bit. It could be the air sac or the air sac that fish have, or the swim bladder that jellyfish have. They could be filling up with air and floating up in the sky.
Hydrogen. Methane.
Right. Yes. They could be doing something like that. So they become lighter than air, and do these kinds of things.
I'm sorry if I'm laughing. I have fun with this, and it's like,
Fine.
I think we're on the cutting edge. I keep telling people if we could get everyone to work together on this instead of fight and argue and try to, the physicists, the plasma physicists, the researchers like us, the boots on the ground thing. I think it's another layer of ecology of their environment, and it's going to
That's the way I look at it as well, Michael, for sure.
make science more interesting. You know what I mean? It's just like,
Yeah, this is like, what's that Cameron film? I'll think of it in a minute.
Avatar? No.
Yes.
Okay.
This is like how beautiful the world is as well, right? With these very unique, strange species in our environment, in our atmosphere, flying around us all the time. These things are around us all the time.
And how is it that they're able to materialize, manifest, and then just basically disappear, or at least go cloaking or something of that nature? What are they feeding on? That's another question. If they are
That's a good question. That's
if
a
they
really
are
good
something
question.
physical, they're going to have to use something to. And then there's plasma. So just the whole thing about plasma. I mean, if it is 99% of the universe, and we're just now trying to understand it, that means that, if they're sentient beings, they're doing research on sentient plasma. And there's several science physicists that I've heard say that they believe in sentient plasma.
Well, the thing is, there are certain
Right there, it looks like a cigarette bud.
It does, right?
It does.
There are certain factions of the government that are studying this, and they know all about this. If I can go out to this field and film it in New York City in the middle of the day, several times a week.
Yeah,
I mean,
they're doing it.
They know what's going on, and a lot of the times there was a small plane circling around me when I was filming.
So you think part of the problem is they realize they can't control this stuff, so instead of trying to control it like they've done everything else, they try to control us for knowing about these things.
It seems like they were doing that. Yeah, it seems like they were breaking up the vibe because they know that there's a connection between humans and whatever this realm is, right? You can tune into it. So I'm not doing this filming anymore.
Stop.
Yeah, so I'm not doing this filming as much anymore.
So tell us about your movies.
Yeah, the documentary is just going to chronicle the times that I was out there filming. I didn't plan on doing a documentary on this. I was just like, hey, let me just see how much I can do. But I figured, okay, let me tell a little bit of the story. It gets into the interference. It gets into some of the social meltdowns. I was able to get an ex-girlfriend in this, and she was around me at the time when there's just a lot of backstabbing and gossip and weird stuff going on.
Now, are you talking about within the UFO community or within you and your girlfriend or everything?
Mutual friends, like people that we knew, it was just very odd behavior.
Isn't it? It doesn't make any sense, does it? The jealousy, but they talk about this marginalization. Hansen, this is some guy's last name Hansen. He talks about, he did some research on the UFO community and the paranormal community, and how a lot of us become marginalized people. We're members of a marginalized culture. Then they talk about this anti-structure thing too, and how we have these moments, strange high strangeness and times of chaos in our lives, where things are much more stable. They don't seem to have that kind of influence. This is a bizarre one, dude.
Oh, this is a bizarre one. Yeah, I embraced it. I embraced the meltdown, and it was damaging at first, but after a while, I figured, it was all for the best.
I don't. Do you ever think that maybe, like my son's mother literally took me to court to try to keep my son from being with my. Of course, the judge gave her hell, and both lawyers of both sides said, if you pursue this, the only thing that's going to happen is you're going to lose a ton of money. But so she stopped because the money was more important than her son. but it's just the whole thing. Lose of best friends. Having problems with people that you just like scratch your head and go, what happened between us? I didn't say anything. There was nothing different about me. Or I didn't say anything. What made you change? And is that something you've experienced with your ex-girlfriend?
No, she was supportive. She was cool.
Well, then who was the person that you were talking about? Or you don't have to say specifically, but you know.
There were people who we both knew. Some were friends of mine. Some were mutual friends that created a lot of negativity in focusing in on the material that I was researching and calling me crazy, even though I hey, what's up?
That's my son. How you doing?
Oh, hey, how you doing? Even though I had
buddy.
Even though I had the footage.
I think that's my son. He sure looks like my son.
Oh,
he uses his name all the time, and he trolls me all the time too.
Oh, he trolls you. And even though I had the footage,
he's my favorite troll.
He's your favorite troll. All right. So that I just thought that was interesting. Even though I had the footage, I had the evidence. There was still so that's what some of the part of the documentary will focus on.
So when do you think it might? Were you planning on having it come out?
Soon, within the next few months, I think it'll be done. Yeah, finally. Jeez. Fine.
This is crazy. Guy has hair all messed up.
Yeah, hair looks cool.
You kind of look like a Bigfoot the way you're.
Oh yeah, what do they call it? Sagittal ridge or whatever.
That's right.
That's cool. He's tuning into the vibe. Well, Michael, I'm getting tired here.
Yeah, well, I appreciate this. This is so fascinating. This is like an orb that has a whole bunch of little orbs connected to it or balls. Yeah. We'll have to talk about more. Thank you for spending time with me tonight, and I hope you do it again soon. If you can remember
who took my mojo?
Yes, send him an email. I'd love to talk to him.
Yeah, I'll do that.
So once again, when do you think the video will be out?
The documentary?
The documentary.
Is
it going to be like a DVD? Is it going to be on the internet? What is it going to be?
I think I'll just do it on the internet. Maybe, either have a site or Amazon or whatever happens. There is somebody that could distribute it, and he's well known in the UFO community. So hopefully that works out. But I just wanted to document the story and get that out there, and because
you've been a great guest, and you've been very patient with me, which I really appreciate.
It's fine. I loved it. It was great.
Let's see. Let's go here. Just remind people of the radio show and other news radio. And you said you're just kind of reposting old ones right now because you're busy.
Yeah, I'll be doing some newer shows, but I've got 10 years of shows on that, so covered a lot of material.
Well, I'm glad I found this.
Yeah, you might enjoy some of these. Kawani's on there, so if you want to hear that interview with Psychic Bigfoot, but I'm sure you know all about it.
My son says the Sasquatches are secretly associates with the giraffes. Okay.
Yeah.
He's 12.
So. Yeah, he knows. I mean, they have this affinity with nature. They can talk to deer. They know. They can communicate with animals, I think, but who knows?
They seem to have that kind of communication, that ability, especially with, it's so complicated. Maybe the next time we'll talk more about that. But so anyways, It's been brilliant meeting you. I hope that you
Yeah,
and I do a
awesome.
show soon. I tell you what, if you're interested, and hopefully by then my numbers would build up. And let's give when the new documentary comes out, let's
Yeah.
come back and let's talk about
Oh, perfect. That's a
and
great
promote
idea.
it.
Yeah, let's do it.
My son said, "We know you were joking, silly Billy." We all know you.
Well, I was convinced. He got me.
Yeah. So, yeah, man, to have a great night and have a great weekend. I'm just going to close it up with some music. I think that's my son calling. Anyways,
Yeah.
great talking to you, Jeff.
Yeah.
Talk to
Same
you
here.
soon.
Okay. Take it easy.
Take care, man.
Okay.
I'll close it up with some music here, folks. I think. Oh no, Jock Filet. Let's do a Jock Filet.
And we became friends after a while, and they could see that I was really, really interested in what had happened to them, because I could tell it had had a deep impact on them. They hadn't talked about to anybody, because it had again affected their life, their beliefs, a number of things. And I asked them to take me to that place among the forest where the thing had landed, one time. And I said, looking around, if it took off in that direction, it would have hit the trees. And they said, well, it kind of hit the trees. And it went through the trees. Well, okay, so now this isn't some sort of rocket or some sort of helicopter. A helicopter will crash if it hits a tree. I said, why didn't you tell that to the investigator who came here? They said, well, we could tell he would never believe it, because he was looking for hardware. He was looking for some sort of super rocket. He was essentially had an engineering mind. We couldn't tell him that it went through the trees. But you asked a question, so we told you. So I think that's what we need to learn, and that is what bothers me with what's happening now in the US, is that we're primarily going to look at the military cases. That's what Congress has mandated. The pilots are going to come up, and now, fortunately, they are giving them permission to speak about what they've seen, okay? Without stigma, without being degraded, without losing their position as pilots, If you're a pilot, you don't want to be assigned to an office somewhere. You want to keep flying, right? So you're not going to talk about UFOs, ever, okay? So when that stigma is removed, now you have another situation. But now we have to think about, and again, the Army and the Air Force is great because they have all these instruments that can measure things. They have radar, they have all of that. A farmer in his field doesn't have that. But the farmer knows his field, and he knows nature. He knows the clouds. He knows if it's going to rain tomorrow. He knows how the cows are behaving. That tells him something about what's going on. It tells you about threats. It tells you about all kinds of other things that a pilot would never know about, because a pilot is looking at a few instruments and the sky in front of him, and that's it. Okay, so we should not narrow what I'm afraid of is that everything will be military observations, because they are so neat, observations from the last 5 years, because we have all this wonderful technology. The farmer doesn't have that technology. So it's going to be discounted, and it should not be discounted. We should go back to the last 50 years, and it's in the database. Now, most of those people have died. I have the privilege of having survived long enough to know all these people, and I can see people making hypotheses about the database that I can tell you are false. I can tell you it did not happen that way because I went there. And I spoke to the people who are operating that radar, or the people who are flying that airplane back in Brazil in 1987. when there were ships, flying ships coming out of the Amazon at night, flying out of the water of the Amazon. Okay, they saw that. They have pictures of that. Okay? You're not going to get that just by doing some superficial research, as good as the research is at Harvard or Princeton or Stanford. We have to go beyond that.
All right, that is Jacques Vallée. I hope you heard some of the things he had to say. I had a good time, and my son is harassing me. Let me play another video. So, those who, that's my son. So, silly Billy. Well, at least he's reached out to me and contacted me. So, He wants to do StreamYard thing too. So that was great. It was really nice to get to know Jeff Brady once again. This is a reminder for everyone else. In other news, is his radio show, and then once again, his YouTube channel is Budgetmoon. Make sure to subscribe. He's got some great images. He's a great guy. He's got a good attitude about the whole thing. And so the rest of you guys, including my son, I love you, Chase. Have a good night. You can call me later if you want, once I end this. So if you want to talk. So if not, I have talked to you soon, my son, and everyone else. Don't forget, Monday we got a live. Budgetmoon is goated. Monday night we got an interview going on. Bigfoot. I can't remember now. Please forgive me. I'm so distracted right now. You distracted me, my son. Take very much. We got actually 2 live shows. We got one going on Monday. Actually, we got 3 set up. So just pay attention to it. We got one next Monday, Thursday, and then the following Monday. And there'll be a lot more. Talking about Sasquatch and other things. So everyone have a great weekend. All right.